head. Hold still. God, what am I gonna do? Tommy's gonna be there. You know how he is. God, he's not gonna appreciate me talking to Brad. Get real, Julie. You're not gonna go through with this, are you? I'm so sure. God, Brad's totally all right. I think he's totally not.
Okay, ready on go. Let's go.
Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. This is Wait, You Haven't Seen? It's a show where we talk about movies, and specifically, we talk about a movie at least one of us has never seen before. I'm your host, Travis, aka TVsTravis. This is episode number 332, and we are in week 3 of Cage-A-Palooza 2025, where we're watching 1983's Valley Girl. And here to talk with me about it, because they wanted to talk about this movie, it's Jonathan Newport. Sorry. I knew I was going to do it. I knew I would do it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It happens. You know, everybody has to get used to change. Oh my God, Travis! Hello. How are you?
I'm great, Jonathan. How you doing? Are you? So you mentioned this movie. So what's your history with Valley?
My history is Okay, so I used to be Orthodox Christian, and so we do the midnight Easter. So Easter is nice and open. And on an Easter Sunday, we were lazing about trying to figure out what to watch. And I mentioned Easter because of the ending. Mm-hmm. And we started on we saw Valley Girl and said, "Oh, this is an old Nick Cage movie. Let's watch this. This will be funny." And
sure,
it starts out, and we just weren't feeling it for whatever reason. And then we went on to watch Easy A and Jesus Camp on Easter. So that was quite the change there. But aside from that, I'm familiar with the song that it's kind of based on.
A little bit,
yeah. Yeah, a little bit. But aside from that, I picked it out because it just seemed Nick Cagey as hell. And I was dead on. I was dead right. But I had to get a piece of that sweet Nick Cage action.
Oh yeah.
And I figured I would find it in abundance. And yeah.
Definitely. Really so this is actually, I had not seen this before. I knew of it. I knew it was
awesome.
Yeah, I knew it was a movie that he was in, and it was one of his early movies, but that was about it. This one just passed me by. I just didn't see it when I was younger and never got around to it. This is actually the first film, I believe, where he was credited as Nicolas Cage and not Nicolas Coppola. But it's 1983, very, very early in his career. I mean, he hadn't even had his teeth fixed up yet. They were still a little off and crooked and all that. And I noted, one of my notes on this was he is just gloriously goofy looking.
He is. Oh my God, he is so goofy. And it's like when they bring him on, like the girls are at the beach and they're all scanning, and somebody says, "Oh, there's a guy with hair on his back. Ooh, gross." And then she instantly goes, "Oh, what a hunk." And the camera switches around and it's Nick Cage running up Baywatch style onto the beach. And I laughed out loud so hard.
He has
so unbelievably hard.
He was in great shape. He was only 19 when he made this movie.
Yeah.
But he was in real good shape, except for whatever reason, he had chest hair shaved like a cravat.
I'm like, that is for the unbuttoned shirt.
That is the sole purpose of that.
The open button shirt. That's it. And just how I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of forethought with it.
And either that or too much forethought. He knew I'm gonna have scenes where I will be wearing a shirt with buttons undone and I want my chest hair showing, but I don't want any other chest hair. So I will shave.
Yeah, how can I min-max this?
It was phenomenal. I could not help. Every time I would see it, I would laugh because it literally was like a cravat made out of chest hair that he just permanently had attached to him. It cracked me up.
Amazing.
No, So Nicolas Cage plays Randy. He's the kid from the other side of the tracks, right? He's the one from Hollywood.
Right.
And we've got the Valley Girls. And you, before we get too much into the movie, I do want to bring up, because you mentioned loosely based off of a song, because Frank Zappa and Moon Zappa had
inspired, you might say. I think that's about it. I think that's about as tight as we can get. Is that it was like loosely inspired?
Yeah, yeah. So the song Valley Girl had been put out by Frank and Moon Zappa, and someone thought this would be kind of a fun one. And in fact, I think Zappa may have shopped around an idea of making a movie for it.
Yeah, that's what I read. Yeah.
And it just never happened. And he even went so far as to sue the production of this movie to try and get it stopped, which didn't work, because the term Valley Girl, I don't think you can really trademark. I think it's too common of a term. So a judge was like, no. But it was loosely inspired by that song and kind of just the Valley Girl idea and aesthetic. So I just thought that was interesting. Also, I love how this movie tries to make it seem like Randy and his friends are in the punk scene.
Yeah.
But they're absolutely not. Like, they're listening to New Wave.
I was so confused by that. Like, that's not happening.
It's really not. Like, even the club that they go to that's meant to be like this seedy, undergroundish punk club, and they're playing, it's a New Wave band playing, like a post-punk.
And the lyrics legit reminded me of the worship music that they sing on the Righteous Gemstones. The lyrics are so it's like someone took a rhyming dictionary and cut out some words, threw them up in the air, and when it landed, they said, "We'll write that song."
There's a little bit of that for sure.
Yeah, there is. They did have one hit which they very plainly play twice in the movie, but I was like, maybe it's the second night at the thing, you always play the hit, whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, that I was like, what are we doing with this club? This is not. This actual character would never go here.
And I think like another reason why it stood out so much to me watching this, especially this being my first time seeing it, is I did just a few months back watch Suburbia, which is a punk rock movie from the same year set in Southern California, but has actual punk rock and punk rockers in it. Like half of the cast were just kids from LA area that they brought into the movie, including a young Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers was in the movie. Before, I think that was even before like Chili Peppers were a thing, but Suburbia was incredibly punk rock. And so to have seen that movie just recently, like within the last 8 months or so, and then watch this and see the juxtaposition, like this is the punk rockers in a Hollywood sense. Yeah. And so that was pretty silly overall, but that's not really the focus. The focus is more on the Valley and the Valley Girls. And you had Deborah Foreman played Julie, and Deborah Foreman had a little bit of a 80s scream queenish type career. She was in this movie. She was in one that I've seen called April Fool's Day, where she played the main character in that. She kind of stopped acting on screen for a while. Like her IMDb goes from 1995 to 2008. There's just nothing. Okay. But she had done Waxwork in 88. And
welcome to the Waxwork. Yeah.
And so, she April Fool's Day I mentioned. She was also in Real Genius a couple years after this. So she did a little bit and then just kind of moved on.
Am I wrong in thinking she looks just like Ellen Burstyn from The Exorcist?
A bit.
Like she
does look like a young.
Like the whole time, I was like, where have I seen this face? And I'm like, oh my God, that's The Exorcist mom.
She does have a young Ellen Burstyn look to her. That's not far off. Also, her mother was played by Colleen Camp, Sarah, and Colleen Camp's only like 9 years older than Deborah Foreman. So
yeah, I watched this with my wife, and one of the first things that she said is, like when the parents showed up, she was like, everybody in this scene is about the same age.
Yeah, because even Frederick Forrest wasn't that much older than them as the like.
Yeah, but and he didn't. Yeah, and he didn't look older. He didn't seem older in the movie until way later, like the last scene with him.
Yeah,
And I'm like, where is all this age coming from?
Right.
Like it was oh sorry, it's the bad lighting.
Yeah.
My and that scene has really bad lighting. But yeah, like the parents were like, I was like, this is like this is like an episode of Saved by the Bell. Like everybody is like even like the kids are not that much younger than the old people.
No, not
And
really.
like and nobody in that movie is believably in high school.
No.
No one.
No.
No one. I
Cage
thought Tommy was in his 30s. He was only 25.
Cage is one of the younger ones, and he's close to high
Yeah.
school age, but he's always looked older. He's just got an older
Yeah, he's
looking
always
face.
right.
Because I mentioned that I saw what was it? It was Wild at Heart when I was watching that, and like he
Yeah.
looks so much older than Laura Dern in that movie, and they're only a couple of years different.
Mhm.
So that's just a Nicolas Cage thing. But I will say Elizabeth E.G. Daly as Lauren was a little bit
She's
younger, and I love her. Like I saw her in Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
so perfect.
She's
I
done a
love her,
ton
yeah.
of great voice work. She's Tommy Pickles from
Yeah,
Rugrats.
she's one of the I guess it's now a triumvirate, even though I don't ever remember the other one. But sorry. It's like her, Christine Cavanaugh, rest in peace, and Tara Strong, and one other one that I'm not thinking of, just have so much like corner the market on voice acting.
Yeah, really. I mean,
Mm,
they kind of have, and she has a
yeah,
unique voice, and I really like it. And the funny thing is,
yeah.
she didn't really know what a Valley Girl was apparently at the time, from what I was reading, and didn't quite. So she kind of based her voice more on Malibu than
That
Valley Girl,
makes
but it
sense, yeah.
worked. I think she worked just fine.
Totally,
Um,
totally. Sorry.
you also had Heidi Holliker and Michelle Mayrink were Stacy and Susie, the
Mhm.
other two of like the four main Valley girls. And it was really 3.5 because Julie, Lauren, and Stacy get most of the stuff, and Susie has that subplot
Susie's just kind of
with Skip that we'll get to because
yeah.
I found that very funny. But like you got those, them,
Hmm.
Randy, and then Randy's buddy Fred that the movie forgets about for most of the middle of it. Like Fred is in the beginning, and then
Yeah.
from the time that take they take Stacy home, and then he drops off Julie the next morning. Fred,
Hmm.
and the funny thing about that was I was like, wait, wasn't that Fred's mom's car? Where's Fred?
Hmm.
Like he's just not there, and he's
Yeah.
not in the movie for another hour.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre, and then he just kind of pops back up. But Cameron Dye played Fred, and I liked Fred because he's he is that guy that just he has no game, he has no he is,
None.
but he thinks he does.
Like toward the end of the movie, he says, "Hold on, where's my note?"
Oh, I
Um,
may have captured what he says because
I said, what the f does Fred know about being romantic?
exactly.
Because at one point, like he does, man, this thing is a patchwork of tropes. This is the tropiest tropester movie I can't even put it into words. It is a wall of tropes. That's all it
Mhm.
is. And he does the line about he's the skeezy guy saying, "Oh, all these women want romance. You got to give them romance.
Yeah,
Trust me, I know."
it's like, what do you
And
know?
like,
You don't know
shut
nothing.
the crap up. But I want to say I don't know what it is about this movie, and everybody looks like somebody else. Brad looked like Rand Paul, um, and Fred looked like Matthew Lillard crossed with Quentin Tarantino.
There's a little bit of
And
that. I
and
can see
and
it.
and it's funny you mentioned Punk because like for you like when he decides to come back in the movie in the story he has spray painted his hair pink and so he's
Yep.
like, oh, I'm actually legit Punk now. I have colored hair. And it's just he like in that the way he mugs when he's acting, he just kept, and I've not even seen it, but he kept reminding me of Matthew Lillard in SE.
Oh, an SLC
Um,
Punk.
shit,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
SLC Punk,
He had a little bit of that
and
going on. It
mhm,
again, the punk stuff is very much like, oh, we've heard about punks, but we don't really know much.
yeah,
Um, the marketing for this actually has more of a punk look for Nick Cage as Randy than any
mhm.
moment in the movie had. Um,
Yeah, I thought that. I was like, he never looks this ever in this
No, and in
movie.
fact, the
Not even
poster for the
close.
movie has him looking not like he does in the movie, and a completely different girl, because they didn't bring back
Yeah,
Deborah Foreman to do the video shoots or the photo shoots for the poster for whatever reason.
that's
Some of that was
wild.
budget reasons, because this movie was made for
Mm,
like 350 grand, so it was made for almost
yeah.
nothing.
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
bet you a solid 2/3 of that budget was music rights, because they got hits like,
This soundtrack was a banger.
yeah, I mean, they had
It.
Melt With You by Modern English, they had Men at Work, Who Can It Be, they had Electric Avenue. Like, these were songs that charted, so they weren't cheap to get. In fact,
And
the Men
yeah,
at Work
and
song,
the
I was just gonna say, the Men at Work song was in the movie, and then in a DVD release they took it out, and then they put it back in like the latest Blu-ray release.
Huh, I didn't know that. But it's not just bed music either. It is like in your
Mm-hmm.
face. We are projecting the plot on a giant screen with this
Oh
music.
yeah.
Just in case you're missing what is going on when Nick Cage is making bedroom eyes at her, we're going to play this song to let you know exactly what's in his head and exactly what the scene means in
For
the
sure.
story. It's like it's like watching the thing with like cliff notes.
Kind of, yeah.
It's just yeah, it's just you can't ever be mistaken what's going on in a scene. And it's so strong and the music is so forward. The sound the score music, all two songs of it, was what the crap is this? And I like synthesized music,
Mhm.
but this was the crappiest crap. Like
I
what like it
I honestly
sounded
feel,
cartoonish.
yeah, I feel like that was sort of last minute. All right, we need some music for
Yeah.
these scenes, and we can't afford another song, so we'll throw something together real quick.
Interestingly, it was done by a team that I mean, I imagine they're a team. They also both did oh, what was it? Um oh, they did the music for Ted 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's something else they
Huh.
did. And they have like one other credit to their name. That's pretty much it. And
Um,
I'm like, makes sense.
but the money they spent on the songs, I think, worked. Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
you mentioned Tommy, by the way. Tommy is played by Michael Bowen. And
Mm.
Tommy, I hated Tommy so much.
I put so many things in my notes about how I just wanted to punch him in the dick.
Like, he
He just
and Michael Bowen, to his credit, is really good at playing that type of character, because as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, that face looks familiar. Why does that face look familiar? And it's because you age him up and put him in hospital scrubs, and he is Buck from the Kill Bill movie. In the
oh.
beginning of that movie, he's the skeezy orderly that is all handsy with the bride when she's in a coma,
Mhm.
and then gets his head caved in by the door. That's the same guy. Like, and he's been in a lot. I mean, he's got 133 credits to his name on IMDb. Like, dude acts, he works. Um,
Mhm.
but he is real good at playing this type of character that you just want to smash his face in, and he's perfect at it here, because he is that preppy douchebag character that really has no redeeming qualities. Like, he gets dumped at the beginning of the movie, admittedly rather callously and just sort of out of what probably for him felt like out of nowhere, but
Yeah.
his reaction to it is, oh, she'll be back. Oh, she must be freaking out because she's not with me
Mhm.
now. There's no other Val guys that could touch me, blah, blah, blah. And then immediately that night, basically, the first chance he gets, he's hitting on someone else, one of her friends at that.
Yeah.
And just, it's just terrible. Like, everything with
He's
Tommy, I hated.
he is so many Lifetime movie villains wrapped in one.
Yeah,
It's
that is,
disgusting. He made me so
he's the
mad.
prototype for the Lifetime movie bad
Yeah.
guy.
I mean, like the look, everything. He's just there.
Mm-hmm. Because he's a good looking guy. I will admit that.
Mhm.
Like, he's got a big square jaw, the blonde hair. It worked. He's in good shape, and so you just hate him even more because he's just smarmy, and
Mhm.
he's probably, Michael Bowen is probably a lovely person, but he's good at
Probably. Yeah.
playing this type of character. A couple other quick ones I
Mhm.
wanted to mention in the cast, because they were faces that I love seeing pop up and stuff. The driver's ed teacher in the scene where she's driving the driver's ed car around Which I love that scene because it's a complete non sequitur that's just there to be funny. It doesn't have anything real bearing on the plot for the most part.
Right.
But I love how it opens up with the prototypical 80s gym teacher wearing like 3 layers and a towel around his neck tucked into his sweatsuit with a whistle hanging out of his mouth. Like, it was perfect. It's straight out of Central Casting. And then it goes into the driver's ed part of things. And the guy sitting in the car as the driver's ed teacher is Richard Sanders, who, if you watched or remember the show WKRP in Cincinnati, he was in that. He was Les Nessman. And I love WKRP and I love Les Nessman. And he also voiced a character in one of my favorite PC games of all time, Day of the Tentacle. He was the voice of Bernard in that game.
I knew I had heard that voice somewhere.
And it had legitimately my favorite moment in the entire movie, because she is driving and she keeps looking in the back seat and talking to her friends and not paying attention. And he just finally bails right out.
Yeah, he just jumps out of the car.
I laughed so hard at that because it happens. He's just getting more and more freaked out as the scene goes on. And then you just hear the door open and then he's out of the car. It was so, that was so well done. And then to end the scene with him just with his clipboard saying, failed.
Yeah.
The other one was, it's just a short thing, but it's my weird superpower of recognizing faces and voices. When Randy is at his low point and he's all hammered wandering around and he stumbles out of the bar and then he yells at the car that's driving by, the lowrider, and the guy gets out.
Yeah.
The guy that got out of the car, first of all, dumb move, right? You just don't do that. But
dumb as hell.
Look,
we've
all been super drunk. He's got the beer muscles. He thinks he can take on anybody. He doesn't care. But the guy that got out of the car yelling at him was played by Tony Plana, who, again, from a video game voice standpoint, I love, because he was the voice of Manny Cavalera in Grim Fandango. Love that game. Nice. But he's been acting ever since. He was in the Punisher series on Netflix. He was in a ton of stuff, and I love Tony Plana. So as soon as he started talking, I'm like, man, I looked and I like had to pause and look at him for a second. I'm like, that's a young Tony Plana. That's awesome. So it's a decent little cast. Lee Purcell also plays Beth, Susie's stepmom,
also known as Stacy's mom. Except there's a Stacy in the movie. Don't get confused with her. But yeah, it was straight up Stacy's mom.
Stacy's mom or Mrs. Robinson would also work. It's probably
the most oblique the most oblique Graduate reference ever.
They weren't even trying to hide it.
After that whole scene, I was already planning to pause it, and my wife was just like, "What?" And I paused it, and I said, "I've never seen it, but at the end of The Graduate, somebody says to Dustin Hoffman that the future is in plastics." And obviously his character, was being seduced by Mrs. Robinson and blah 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 blah. And I said, so that was again projecting. That was their, hey, if you think the scene is about something else, you are very mistaken here. Let's take your hand and guide you through this.
Yep.
But in the most obscure way.
Yeah.
And but that was 1983. That was what, 12 movies, like 12 years after it came out.
Something like that. It was a lot closer. So
that actually could have been like a telling thing, like a little light bulb moment. But now it's just what?
Yeah.
It seemed so ham-fisted.
Oh, sure. But I enjoyed it because it's set up like right away. The second we meet Beth, and
just
they're having the conversation, and then she leaves. Also, by the way, all right, well, let's talk a little bit about. So we open up at the mall.
Sure.
For those of you young enough not to remember, the mall used to be the thing.
Yeah. Right.
And it's not explicitly said, but it's sort of implied that this is like the Sherman Oaks Galleria, like the mall that was in every movie in the 80s. Like the giant, LA area mall in the Valley. It wasn't actually shot there. It was shot at a different mall, I think, because they couldn't get permits or whatever. That's fine. That's not a big deal.
Please tell me it was shot in New Jersey.
No, it was shot in California. Although it would be
Okay,
great if it was
okay.
shot in Jersey.
Okay,
But
yeah, the irony there. But
um,
go ahead.
but it's a great opening because it took me back so hard to see like these stores, to see the old credit card machines. Did you ever
Yes.
have to use those?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
with the carbon paper and all that.
Yeah, I like in the retail work I've had to do.
Hmm.
I've never had to do that,
Oh,
but yeah, I definitely had to run like a parent's card, like picking up shoes or whatever.
I
And they had to do that thing. One time in when I was working in a Sam's Club, the power started to like went off, and we had to go to generators
mm,
for like 15 minutes, and my floor manager was like, once this hits 25 minutes, we have like anywhere from like 2 to 3 minutes, or from like 2 to 5 minutes to get our stuff situated and get ready to run the credit cards manually. And that, let me tell you what a nightmare that
oh,
is
it's
to
not
think
fun.
about, working in a Sam's Club when you're ringing up $400 orders of hot dogs and
Hmm.
cheesecake. Like, you don't oh my god.
Yeah,
So
and
that's the closest I ever had to come to that. But yeah, seeing the I was
oh,
like, man,
because I've
that is a nostalgic sound that just always hits.
that is like the dial-up modem sound. It's that sound that
Oh,
instantly
yes.
takes you to a place. Like because I
Mhm.
have had to use those in my previous life in retail just a few
Mhm.
times, but we had them. They
Yeah.
were always the backup to the backup. Like when everything went down and we had no wire, no kind of connection to anything. Bust out the old knuckle buster and use that thing. And it was
Yeah.
terrible, but we had to do it. So that was really cool. But yeah, so the girls are setting up. They're having a party that night. But Julie is going to break up with Tommy. She's bored with him. She doesn't love him anymore, uh, and
Mhm.
so she just dumps him right there in the mall.
Mhm.
Pretty
I also want to
unceremonious.
say, when they come in, they are basically you're basically listening to the song Valley Girl. You're
Hmm.
not, but the dialogue is it could have been B-roll
Oh yeah,
for that. It is
100%.
like I think the only thing I was missing was someone didn't say "gag me with a spoon,"
No, but they got
but like
close.
like all the totalies, all the oh my god, all the I'm sure,
Yep.
which for some reason I love that as like a response to stuff. Um, it's so weird, but like it's just they just go right into it. And again, they're like, if you were here for something else, you need to go to the theater next door or something, because this is what we have here, and this is all we have
This is
here.
what we have. This is what you're getting.
Yeah,
Strap in and enjoy.
yeah.
But yeah, so they set up for a party that night, and at that party, at first I thought this is just like like your standard kind of high school house party. But then I noticed the
Mhm.
one guy is drinking booze out of a paper sack. I'm like, why is he hiding that at the party? Turns out Susie's parents are there, and
Yeah.
so it's that party. The thing that
Mhm.
cracked me up is we meet Beth as Susie and her are talking about some boy or whatever, and Susie's dad
Mhm.
is standing there helping make the sushi rolls because they're having sushi. Because
Mhm.
this is '83, like sushi was not new, but in terms of the states, it was like a weird thing to have, and it was definitely
Yeah.
you know a cool posh thing to have sushi. Um,
Yeah.
but for whatever reason, he's putting peanut butter on the sushi rolls. That threw me a lot.
I mean, it was the weirdest. I mean, I'm like, is that supposed to be peanut sauce? Because it really just looks like you're making a Buckeye,
It kind of did.
because it's wrapped in seaweed, and so everything is dark, and everybody has this little pod of liquid peanut butter, and there's no, it's not dark brown at all. There's no soy sauce
Nope.
like
I didn't know
that
what
I
was
can
going
see,
on there.
and it's just like, what the hell? Like, I mean, it was 83. Maybe nobody knew, maybe I don't know.
But
There wasn't YouTube then. Nobody knew how
yeah,
to serve sushi the
no,
right
that's
way.
true. Now
No
earlier in the
tutorial.
day, the girls had gone to the beach, and that's where
Uh,
we meet Randy because him and his buddy Fred are at the beach.
mhm.
Fred being super creepy, by the way. listening
Yeah,
in.
leaning in and getting her address. This random chick that he heard giving somebody's address to a party,
Yeah.
and
Ugh.
he's just leaning all up on her, and it's just so foul.
But he basically tells Randy, "Hey, there's going to be a great party in the valley," which Randy doesn't want to go into the valley. This is setting
Yeah,
us up for the fact that they're from different
valley.
worlds. Um,
I don't want to go in the
but
valley.
they go crash the party anyway, and I love when they show up at the party because it's very much just everyone staring at them.
Yeah.
And they admittedly are dressed differently, but not that much.
Mhm. Yeah. They're like kind of like they're kind of the like a little bit of the vampire-y take, but not in like a fun goth way, just like in a pale
Mhm.
weather, like a pale wearing leather jacket sort of way. But my wife was like, this isn't the first time he's been a vampire in a movie. I
Well,
was like, okay,
yeah,
that's
no,
fair.
that's a good
But
point.
yeah, they just walk in and they're like, Nick Cage literally says, "Okay, so now what do we do?"
Right.
And Fred's like, "We're here, simplicity at its best." I know he says that at the end of the movie, but that's his whole shtick through the whole thing. He's like, I got you here. The rest is up to
You
you,
know what, though?
cowboy.
I'm going to say
Oh,
this about Fred. Fred might be kind of an idiot, but I also fully respect the game of, look, I'm going to just put us in a situation. We'll figure it out. Like,
right.
I'm all for that. That's great. He's
Yeah,
just going
he
to,
was he was a fully formed character in that regard. Like he did his thing, and he was great at it.
loved it.
He's just goofy as hell.
Now, I will say the movie has a weird pace to me because we have this whole scene at the party, which, by the way, sets up a thing that never really gets paid off, which is Lauren and Tommy, because Tommy's been broken up
Mhm.
with, and now he starts hitting on Lauren when he sees her. He's hammered at this point, like he is
Yeah.
sloshed, but he starts hitting on Lauren. Lauren has, it's been alluded to so far that Lauren is, um, how can I put this? Very friendly. Um,
Mhm.
and so they start kind of like they're going to go down the road of having sex at the party, and she says, so does this mean that we're
Mhm.
going now, that we're going steady? To which Tommy's like, no. And she immediately cuts it off. Now, part of me thought, oh, I don't, in fact, I had notes like, I don't like where this is going. I really don't want the movie to go here.
Yeah, I was like, "Are we gonna open with, like, a rapey scene?
Yeah,
Really?"
and it
And
didn't.
they definitely went up to it,
Hmm.
but we're like, "You know what? We're just gonna leave with her being angry and sad at him." And kind of to your point, they really don't do anything with it, but at the end on on my watch back, I noticed that they're when the girls are talking to Tommy toward the end of it,
Hmm.
she she like if you watch her, she is like kind of you can tell she's kind of struggling how
Hmm.
to
Oh
feel
yeah.
around her,
No, they,
around him. Like she's giving him the stink eye, and like you could tell that she's really frustrated to be standing next to him. Like,
yes.
what are you doing? And she finds a way to make light of it, but like for a good minute there, she's like, "Oh, this is like a bad situation. I really don't like
And
this."
I honestly, like, at the end of the
I appreciated
movie,
that.
I appreciated
Yeah.
it, but I also thought telling Lauren's story would be more compelling than Julie's because I think
Yeah.
we don't have any backstory for her, but clearly there's some stuff she's working through and having to deal with. And I kind
Right.
of think it would make for an
Right.
interesting story. But I'm glad that the movie handled it the way that it did for the most part. It
Yeah.
just was interesting that it never fully came back. But to your point, Lauren as a character did stay somewhat consistent throughout in that from that from that moment on in the movie she's never comfortable with
Mhm.
Tommy, but she
Yeah.
also can't or doesn't feel as though she can really voice the opinion.
Mhm.
And I thought that was intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Oh, but before the girls leave for the party, by the way, there's a line from the dad about if I were 20 years younger, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, you probably wouldn't do that these days. Like maybe that line would get excised, but you know,
Yeah,
there were
there
a
were a
few of
couple
those.
things that I was like, "Yeah." And I wanna say something about the dad. He sounds like I'm sorry I'm comparing everybody to somebody else, but
No, I do that.
he made me think of his voice sounds like he has the weirdest accent for he he's like, what if Stephen King was from Albany, New York? And
Yeah.
it's weird because he's from Waxahachie, Texas.
And he's playing
And
like an
I was
ex-hippie at that. So
right. I was like, this guy's got to be from like Rochester somewhere. And no, he's from Waxahachie. And like, and okay, so you mentioned it. They invoked and I mean every hippie trope known to man.
oh yeah.
Sushi, vitamins, bean sprouts, leather sandals, Woodstock, civil rights, gut health, peacemongering,
Mm-hmm.
the dad crochets, on and on and on. I would go, I would say more, but we have a show to do. Like it's just
It was impressive the amount of hippie
it
tropes
really
they could
was.
hammer into this one movie. The one
Yeah,
character
I
at that,
was
like two characters, because the mom,
uh
Samantha or Sarah, the mom is also very much a hippie.
yeah,
Like
very much.
even down to the point where they had just gotten married the year before. Like they had been together
Right.
for who knows how long and had a daughter that was clearly in her early 20s and is still in high school.
Mhm,
Um, but they didn't get married until just the year before. So all of that was kind of funny.
mhm,
But it's like we get everything through the party, and then and so when Tommy gets upset at the party and punches Randy, and they have a little scuffle, the
mhm.
parents are strangely not involved in that at all, um, which I thought was odd. But
Curious, yeah.
they kick Randy and Fred out of the party, and they leave, and then Randy wants to go back and proceeds to climb into the second floor bathroom and then hide in the shower for an
Right.
extended
Like
period of time.
I was like, he's got to be in there while someone's pooping.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
why? Like what? It's just, and it's so awkward. He like has to the people that come in and do the drugs because of course
It's the 80s.
it's a
Somebody's got to do
party
cocaine.
in an 80s movie. Somebody's got to do some coke and smoke some weed. And while the guy is lighting up his joint, we see Nick Cage doing bang,
Oh yeah, he's like freaking
bang,
out in there.
like like he's at a like he's shooting a target at a carnival, and I'm like, is he anti-drug? Like, is he just tired? Is he tired of the people being the wrong people? Like, what is this? And he's just in the shower stall.
Mm-hmm.
What had to be at least like probably 30-45 minutes. And he's in there with people coming out, people getting handsy,
Yeah.
and just all kinds of stuff. And then she comes in, and I'll let you take it from
Well, and when she walks into the room, it's like he was waiting. At first, I thought he was just waiting for an opportunity to leave the bathroom,
there. Right.
but I think he was honestly just in there waiting for her to go into the bathroom, and then she
Yeah.
does.
Like you do.
Right. Nothing creepy at all about like she's in the bathroom by
Nothing at
herself
all.
and suddenly there he is standing behind
Yeah.
her and she doesn't
Mhm.
scream because they had a
Yeah.
little moment earlier and they had their
Yeah, they did.
moment earlier at the beach where she saw him, he saw
Mhm.
her, and yada, yada, yada. But
Mhm.
she takes it remarkably well. And then he tells her, let's go, you want to get out of here? Well, where would we go? Oh, anywhere. It doesn't matter. He just wants to be with her. Right. They are the
Yeah.
star-crossed lovers. And that's one of the
The
things with this movie is as it was unraveling, as it was moving on, I realized what it was, which is Romeo
yeah,
and Juliet.
it's right. It is a wrong side type of love
Mhm.
story. And just like with the hippie, they do every trope you can think of. The lines, the looks, the situations, everything that goes with that type of movie, they made sure all the boxes were checked.
Mhm. Oh,
And
for sure.
it's kind of like this is I really enjoyed this movie, loved it, but it's not a good movie. And it is there are parts of it that are really good. It's definitely the most enjoyable. I think it's the one that I like the most that we have seen overall, even though I really liked Identity, but I can see making this like an annual watch or something. But it is so it is kind of astounding how much when they said, okay, we're going to touch on this aspect of this, well, we're going to do the crap out of that. and they did it so many times with the music, with the hippiness, and with that. They just ev- everything you can think of, just nailed it to the floor and just went
It
headlong.
it is it's a lot of fun, and I think the one of the things that's a strength of this movie is it's Romeo and Juliet, which is a classic story that everyone
Hmm.
knows the story beats to.
Hmm.
So it's very easy to adapt into whatever setting you want, which is why Romeo and
Right.
Juliet as a story, the star-crossed lovers, has been done so many times. Not just straight adaptation of Shakespeare, but taking it and making it something new. And in this, it was putting it in
Hmm.
early 80s, Valley Girl setting, but you take those tropes and you throw it in there and you can have a lot of fun with that. And so I think that really
Hmm.
worked. Now, I'm curious, when you think about, just off the top of your head, movies that do what this one did, which is take a well-known, well-worn story and adapt it, but change. Don't
Hmm.
don't just do a straight, like, this isn't Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, where they're
Right.
placing it modern, but it's still the exact same thing.
Hmm.
But taking it and not necessarily transforming it, but just kind of shaping it into something slightly new, but keeping all of the same pieces in there. Do you have one off the top of your head that's like a favorite of yours? Because I have a couple that come to mind immediately that I really like that did this same thing. Not necessarily of Romeo and Juliet, but just that idea.
Right. Give me a second to think about it and go ahead and answer
Okay.
your
So
side.
while you're
Yeah.
thinking about that, I'll give two of my favorites, which
Sure.
is, one of them is "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," which is a
Sure.
great version of the Odyssey. And I just love that because it took the epic that Homer wrote, and it really just made it into something of its own and added in all the musical stuff and the setting in Mississippi, and just all of that is so well done. The Coen brothers do such a great job with stuff like that. So I really love that one. And another one for me is 10 Things I Hate About You, which is The Taming of the
Hmm.
Shrew, done in a modern format. It's the same story, just transposed into what they did with it. And it's Heath Ledger's great in it. Julia Stiles is great in it. Um, and that is
Hmm.
a really fun one. So those are two that just like, oh, and Clueless was another one that I can't remember offhand which play it's kind of based on, but like
I
Clueless is really good at that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget about Clueless too. Actually, 10 things I thought of a few minutes ago when you started talking about it. So definitely that. Um, right off the top of my head, though, I'm not
But I love that
getting
idea, right? Because
yeah,
that's a fun way to
absolutely.
adapt a story.
Hmm.
Is you take something that everyone knows. Everyone knows the basics of Romeo and Juliet, which is why it's
Right.
been done so many times, and even in like small pieces. Or you get Troma did a version of it, Tromeo and Juliet.
Hmm.
You had the gnomes, the garden gnomes
Hmm.
animated thing, Nomeo and Juliet. It's
Yeah.
such a well worn thing that when done well, uh, really works. And here it worked. Also, it helps
Hmm.
when your leads have chemistry, and Deborah Foreman and Nicolas Cage did. Nicolas Cage has actually even said he barely had to act in this movie because he was absolutely taken with Deborah Foreman, and they started dating while making the movie. Um,
Interesting.
and I saw an interview with him talking about this movie as one of those turning points for him, because he's like, yeah, I barely had to act. Like, I was supposed to be taken with her, and I was. And he was like, he would write her poems and give them to her and all this kind of stuff. And I guess the breakup scene for them, which is a great scene, was really hard to
Hmm.
film because they were dating by that point. And so it was here they are trying to act like they're breaking up and hate each other and
Right.
getting upset. And they're, meanwhile, when the cameras aren't rolling, they're all lovey dovey with each other. So I thought that was really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. While we're on it, I one thing I did not like about this movie,
Okay.
and I've already posted about it, is the amount of Nick Cage kissing
I
is
was waiting for when this would come up
foul.
because I saw your post about it.
He okay, so on the beach when it's the long shot and they're in like the not the shadows, but when it's they're standing, face to face and kissing. He looks like he's trying to gently eat a watermelon sideways, like the watermelon is standing up and it's peeled or whatever, and he's just going.
You know what it is there's a parody of that kind of kissing scene in, I think it's Dumb and Dumber, and that's done obviously for parody. And here it's meant to be like super passionate. But you're right, it does look like he
Yeah,
is. It's very awkward and very weird.
at one point, I forget what scene in it, but at one point he almost puts her nose in his mouth
Yeah, I saw
because of
that.
the way he's just kind of trawling all over her face, and I just, oh my god,
In some
it
ways
was.
it's endearing because it is supposed to be like a high school kids, and they at the
Oh
end they're even going
sure,
to their junior prom, which I thought that threw me when I saw junior prom. Like, there's no
yeah, that
way these are supposed to be
no way,
17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, like not a
yeah, no
chance.
one, yeah,
um
no one,
but so it kind of works there if you try to think of it that way, but then it just feels even weirder to think of it that way. So
Mhm.
I sort of don't. But you're right. The amount of
Yeah.
kissing
It's-
that Nick Cage does in this is a lot, but it's a lot to watch.
yeah, it's just I was like, okay, they really like making out. Can we
And hey, I mean,
like
they were dating at the time, so maybe that was just
sure, right,
whatever works for them.
right. I mean, you got to stretch it how you can. Let's see. I put so much Nick Cage kissing. My God, make it stop.
Um,
Um, when when he's in the montage
mhm.
and he comes around, it's the one in the middle where they start out, they're doing their date thing, and it's like you said, melt with you, and they're going around, and he's taking her to the club, and she's taking him to be at the Galleria so she can spoon feed him what I imagine is some sort of health food. And instead of the leather jacket at the mall, he's wearing or I don't know if it's he's wearing a leopard print snap top,
Yeah, I don't know what that
and
was.
underneath a Tangerine Dream shirt. And I'm like, man, he went to the dark side of the moon super quick. Like, because there's like, where did this Tangerine Dream shirt come from? Like, that's a synth band.
Right?
And he started out like talking about how the scent
The synth rock had no
how
soul. Yeah.
yeah, had no soul. And it's just man, he got, you talk about people being whipped,
Yeah.
and like,
Well,
and I don't even use that phrase myself because it's so catty, but like I don't know any other way. It's like he's a completely different person.
if I
It's
have,
just
yeah, if I have complaints about this movie, there's a couple. I like the movie a lot. I will say that.
yeah,
I'm with you. I did
yeah,
like it, and I understand especially why people who grew up with it really love it. Because I do feel
100%.
like had I seen this when I was young and I had that
Mhm.
connection to it, like it would definitely hold that special place. Like for me, I liked it.
Yes.
But a couple of things about it that did annoy me were, and they're just classic movie trope problems that I have in
Yeah.
general. One is kind of the forced conflict of her friends not approving of the boyfriend, the new boyfriend, and the
Yeah,
whole
that went
idea.
0 to 60 super
It
quick.
did, and the whole idea of she has to choose between her friends that she's known for presumably a good portion of her life, or this new guy that
Mhm.
does mean something to her. And there's nothing wrong with him. He's not, it's not like he's a dick that she just thinks is
Mhm.
cute and she's dating him out of
Mhm.
spite. Like he's genuinely good to her. All the montages are them being very cute together, and he's being very
Mhm.
respectful of her, even when he shows up like at the health food store that her parents run. Like he's not he's not an asshole to her dad or anything like that. There's
Right.
nothing wrong. Like her dad doesn't seem to mind him too much after meeting him.
Mhm.
All of that kind of stuff. So then for her friends to basically be like it's him or us, I didn't like that. But I never like that in any movie because it always has to be
Yeah, it's
forced.
just
It's forced
yeah.
conflict, and I don't like. The other thing about the movie for me that doesn't knock it down a lot, but it's just a little bit, is it is a little oddly paced, in so much as
Yeah,
that we have a long opening before they meet, and then they meet, and then we have this very long period where they're getting to know each other, and I understand that we want to develop the relationship, but then we got to cram her dumping Randy, getting back with Tommy, going to her prom, and Randy trying to win her back in the last 25 minutes of the movie. An hour and 40-minute movie, and we cram all of that into like 25-ish minutes. And that to me just felt like that could have been done earlier in the movie to give us more of it. Because the stuff where like Randy is showing up all over the place trying to win her back, like he's at the movie theater when they go to the movie and taking the tickets, and she recognizes him, but like none of her friends do, or Tommy doesn't, or he's working the little drive-in fast foods place that they're eating at one night, and Tommy doesn't recognize him. All that was all real fun, and I wanted more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, the way they just do everything at the end is so. There are a lot of things in this that are a little compressed.
Yeah,
and that it's either compressed or it's just kind of dangled, and then they go away from it.
Well, and even the Susie subplot, Susie, Beth, Skip thing, we spend a lot of time
just
with
thinking
that.
about that. Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's silly and it's fun, and I like the subversion and the flip on that. Okay, but we spent a lot of time with it that we didn't need to, because it doesn't advance our plot at all.
It's like, go ahead.
Well, it didn't advance our plot at all, because these are characters that don't have any bearing on the relationship we really care about in the movie, which is Julie and Randy. And it's Julie and Randy's story with Tommy, and that's the main story. But we also have a little bit of what's going on with Lauren, and then they throw in Susie, Beth, and Skip, which again, interesting, but that felt like somebody had that idea and they're like, we're gonna work this in. And
that's why I said it's like they're trying to tick as many boxes as they can. It's like, here's that part of this type of movie, waka waka waka, and that is just like, okay.
Because the whole scene where like Skip comes riding up on his bike, and then he rides away, and he comes back, and then he sneaks into the house, which, by the way, totally creepy. Don't do that. Don't ever do that.
The way he just leaves and like just steps backwards out of the house and down the window, down the whatever, like it was the most broken episode of Clarissa Explains It All ever. And it's because he literally just looks at it, and it's like, well, I guess I'm going out the way I came in, and he just goes about it like he does this every day, and it's like, what's happening?
I would have cut everything to do with the Mrs. Robinson stuff with Beth.
Yeah, that was pointless,
because it didn't give us anything. And then we could have spent more time with Randy, Julie, and Tommy to an extent too, and let that not have to be the last 25 minutes, because that stuff was really good. Now, I did capture some audio. I got to play some of this because there's some good stuff here. This is a movie full of all sorts of good stuff. We're going to start with I'm going to start with Lauren, because Elizabeth Daily, I love her. She's fantastic. And she had a few lines that I really liked. Like her first line opening the movie, basically, is straight up Valley Girl speak.
You gotta get all puffed out to the max and all for sure.
All puffed out to the max and all for sure. Like, amazing right there.
Yeah.
Starting us off with a banger. You also had when they're on the beach and they're checking out all the guys, and she and Stacy, I think, came back with like the food, and then she says,
He's hot. Oh yeah, he's my kind of guy. Aren't they all?
Oh,
they're very catty to each other.
They are,
which did kind of crack me up a little bit, because that definitely, while it's a little mean, it's also the kind of ribbing you do with your friends. So
yeah.
There's also a lot. Oh, go ahead.
You saying that reminds me of a few years ago. I watched some old episodes. I mean, not like they're new ones, but I watched some episodes of You Can't Do That on Television.
Oh yeah,
which was actually from around the same time, like when you and I watched it growing up. It was basically in syndication. They
yep,
were pretty much done by the time we were watching it in the like late 80s.
yeah.
Maybe not, but I mean, it goes back to 1982, and I had no idea. But watch it specifically, like the locker jokes,
Mhm.
because I don't know if you know this, but the kids actually wrote a lot of the show,
Yes.
and they like the show was more about just how they interacted with each other,
Mhm.
and kind of a genius idea at the time, I think. But they let the kids write a lot of the gags and such, and so the locker jokes were really brutal, and because like you can tell that that's them kind of working out what what they go through,
Mhm.
and it's just I I actually thought about how like you couldn't stream this now. I mean, you can't if you're Paramount, whatever, but like you can't, like this would not hit today. They would have to rewrite so much of it because it's so just the most acerbic stuff you could say to kids. I mean,
It would
calling
just
each other
it would
like
be done
whales.
very,
And
yeah. It would be done very
yeah,
differently. Now, there was a remake of this movie, by the way. Did you know that? Because I did
yes,
not
I
until
did
today.
I did see that. I have not delved into it, and
It came
I'm
out in
kind of afraid.
2020 and is apparently a musical. And also I watched the trailer for it, and there are parts in the trailer that are word for word scenes from this movie. So I don't know quite how that would work because
Interesting. I would.
it looks like it's all told in flashback based on
Oh, weird.
based on the
I would.
trailer anyway.
I would be super interested to handle the absolute blatant casual manner in which they discussed eating disorders,
I
which was
liked
shocking to
I
me.
liked that
Just how?
scene though
Oh yeah,
because
definitely. It's because it's a relic, and it's accurate. I mean, that's just how that was.
well, it's a
That's how they
relic, but
talked
it's
about
also like it's not as though like the movie isn't glorifying the eating disorder at all. And in
it.
fact, it's
No, it's
talking it
just like
down. But
here
like
it
the
is. Yeah.
candid nature that they talked about it with, I wasn't
Hmm.
expecting at all.
Yeah, I
Even
did appreciate it,
oh yeah,
but it was just it was really strong.
hmm
Um,
um, I loved this from her. This is more Lauren.
Man, he's just like tripendicular, you know?
Thank you. I was
Tripendicular.
hoping you would get that.
Whew.
Yeah.
That is this movie showed me that oh yeah, teenagers talking in a way that the olds don't understand is nothing new.
Mhm.
It is just
No,
it
no.
just cycles and the words change, but the whole idea behind it is the same. Like we make jokes about the kids today with whatever, and
Mhm.
I don't know any of the slang because I am now the old guy.
Yeah.
But like we had it when we were in high school. The things that we would say, and our
Uh-huh.
parents would be like, "I don't know what that means at all," and our
Yeah.
grandparents would be completely confused by it. And our parents
Mhm.
had that, and the kids in the early '80s had it. You know,
Mhm.
it just goes on. But man, some of them are great. Tripendicular is a wonderful one
Tripendicular.
that I think we need to bring back.
My favorite Dave Matthews song. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Tripendicular.
and then Lauren at the end of the movie, again, busting Susie because at this point, none of them actually know what happened between Susie and Skip and how like
Right.
Skip was all about Beth and Beth was hitting on him, but then like he and Susie got together. I love that scene played out amazingly because it's setting you up
Mhm.
for, and I just expected it to be Susie walking in on Skip with her stepmom, and nope.
I did too. I did too.
So I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
when Susie finally shows up to the prom with the cups, right? Because they don't have cups for the punch.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
Lauren says this to her:
Have you been getting laid, Susie?
"Have you been getting laid,
Mhm.
Susie?" Cracked me up.
Yeah.
I got a couple Tommies. Tommy had just a couple of lines. There weren't a lot, but I mentioned this one earlier.
Who else is there? Oh, the Val dude can touch me. I mean, she must be really freaking out.
Like just the ego on this guy,
Yeah. He
just the
feels sort of.
unmitigated ego. And then to turn right around, just later that day, he just got dumped by his girlfriend unceremoniously at the mall and hammered later on that night at a party, he sees Lauren, and just the way he delivered this, which I feel like Lauren saw right through it, but just kind of didn't care.
Come on, what about Julie?
Oh, that's a real tragedy. Dumped. Jilted. Right in the toilet. My heart's broken.
Yeah, so sincere there, Tommy. So sincere.
He the expressions he makes, I mean, and yes, it is his face, but also the looks he gives when he would come off a line kind of reminded me of Jake Johnson.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, he definitely has the face, but also like just the way he just reacts. It's like, oh, it's so weird.
He also, when he is with Lauren and they're starting to make out and whatnot in the bed, and she says something to him, and I did like this reaction. And I say I liked it in that it fit the character, but I also kind of hated it at the same time.
Don't penalize me for what she did. I'm the one that got hurt.
Don't penalize me for what you. No. Don't try that, Tommy. That doesn't work. Just take the L. And the last one from him. This one might be a little bit loud, but this is at the end of the movie. The teacher is up there giving the prom king and queen speech, which that scene I loved so much because you can like that teacher desperately wanted to be the prom queen and she wasn't.
Oh yeah.
And apparently the actor wrote that speech herself.
Oh, I love that so
which is great. But while that's all going on, of course, Randy shows up, backstage, and him and Tommy start fighting, and like Tommy's taking off his tuxedo jacket and his tie and everything, and then he starts busting out kicks and posing, and he screams, which nobody reacts to except for the band. A couple of guys in the band see it, but the scream was great. So it might be a little bit loud, but here's that. Like, that sounds like it's something out of a 50s monster movie.
It does, man. The levels were so harsh in this movie. Like they were pushing a lot.
I could put that sound over like a guy in a monster suit, and it would fit perfectly. Mm-hmm. It's so good. Stacy had a couple as well. She had a lot of the Valley Girl speak. Stacy's lines because when Julie leaves the party with Randy, she's not leaving alone. Smart. Mm-hmm. Dumb of her to just leave with some dude she just met, but smart not to go alone. Give her credit there. Mm-hmm. But she drags Stacy along with her, and I just love Stacy.
I am simply going to freak out and die.
That is such a Valley Girl statement. Yeah. It killed me. And then later on, when they have their little intervention at the Dupar's diner, and Stacy is kind of leading the charge of like it's him or us. And I didn't like a lot of that because
like this has been too tough, I mean, it's not really fair. It's either Randy or you guys. Well, life's not fair.
And like Julie is like crying.
Yeah, she's getting genuinely emotional, and
they're like, "Oh well, we can't have him, now can we?" Like.
And then she let slip, of course, that Tommy had been talking to her. And this is more for the sound effect because this is some fantastic Foley work.
Ow!
I was like...
that kick sound of Susie kicking her under the table was like a shortened version of the Indiana Jones punch. Like it sounds like a sack of wet cement hitting an abutment on a castle.
They did some weird Foley stuff.
Like they really did.
Like when they were I don't know if somebody got the wrong tape or what, but they made some odd choices.
Some of they had their sound library, and that's all they could afford. Again, they spent all their money on music. They had nothing else.
Right. Right.
Some good Valley Girl speak though.
I mean, he is so bitchin'.
So bitchin'. Oh, I love that phrase.
So, so many things were bitching in this movie.
Uh-huh. Oh,
so many
this whole movie's bitching.
It was great.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Also,
boys or something totally grody like that.
Totally grody.
Totally grody.
Which is definitely, it's a phrase I used when I was a kid, for sure, because of hearing it in movies and stuff. Also,
this one is so tubular.
Tubular.
Wow.
Is a phrase, is a turn of phrase I want brought back. Because that was, growing up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they had a lot of surfer speak, right? And that was like grody and tubular would be things you would hear on that too. And so that's where I got a lot of it from.
It's so funny to hear you say that, because on the movie podcast that we both listen to, if they find a clip like that, the host will say, "Nobody ever talked like this," and they'll all agree, "No, I never heard." And yes, they did,
They
because
absolutely did.
absolutely, because it was fed to us. Like nobody actually talked like that at large before these things were put in our faces. No,
No.
but that absolutely did spread. In fact, Zappa made the song Valley Girl, because he couldn't stand the people in the San Fernando Valley.
Yep.
And so he did what he did. He was an asshole. He made the song making fun of something that he freaking hated.
Mm-hmm.
And it backfired and actually helped it spread.
Yeah.
So
unfortunate for Zappa, great for the rest of us. So, but that was, and honestly, that's the genius of Frank Zappa. He's so good at that kind of thing. Whether it was intentional or not, it still worked.
But like people absolutely did talk like that. And I mean, I never really totally use words like that, but I mean, even now, obviously, and this is actually kind of probably partially why I picked the movie. But like I'm obviously kind of not rooted in Valley speak, but I have that tone a lot. And like I say like 1,000 times. How many times have I said, "Oh, sure," in this? Right. Just like Pavlov's dog. And but like I've actually met somebody who legit speaks like that all the time. And that she is here in Savannah, oddly, and she is, we'll say, in a medical profession. I don't want to dox her or anything. And I went in to talk to her about something, and she was like, "Okay, so what we're going to do is," and she just had the whole up and down, the whole cadence, the whole dynamism of it. And like I was texting my wife, like, "Oh my God, this person's straight out of an 80s movie." And about a year later, or a couple years later, my wife, who is a school teacher, she does pre-K and also does sitting for families on the side. It's just kind of her career. And she got this random job off of like care.com or whatever. And she goes to it and she texts me from it. She was like, "Hey, was that medical person? Was that so-and-so? Was this her name?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "That's who I'm sitting for." And you were absolutely right. That's actually how I knew who it was, because I felt like I was talking to an actual, like, out of the movies Valley Girl. And I said, "Yep, that's her."
They
And
exist,
I was
for sure.
amazed. I felt like I had knocked off one of my bucket list items. And it was crazy. So, I mean, yes, people do talk like that, and people did talk like that, and people would say grody and bitchin' and totally, and I mean, this is later, but like radical and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sometimes, yes, it was to be ironic and funny, but there were times where, we used phrases like that just in general. I mean, here's a couple others moments. These are Julie in the movie, Deborah Foreman.
It's like I'm totally not in love with you anymore, Tommy. I mean, it's so boring.
I'm totally not in love with you. It's so boring. Boy, that's just let him down gently, why don't you? I mean, geez.
Yeah.
Also, her looking at the guys on the beach, which I appreciated this because, look, if we're going to objectify people, we can objectify the guys too, because she's looking down the beach and she just says,
I definitely need something new.
"All right, you go for it. You go find yourself something new." This exchange with her and Randy was just funny to me.
Like it's a store, you know?
It's a store, My parents own a store. It's a store.
Mm-hmm.
Using the word to define the word will never not be funny to me.
Yeah, but but also like she's so nervous because like they're
Oh,
hippie
yeah.
people and they have a health food store and it's 1983 and she doesn't want him to react weirdly. Although it's interesting that when she says that and he's like, "Oh, a health food store," he actually backs off from her. So I was like, okay, so maybe that does kind of weird him out.
I think it does, but he
But
ends up not really judging her about it either. Like it's never
yeah, I
it's
think
never a
really he
thing.
was just squaring up so she would know that he's serious.
Yeah.
But it's Nick Cage, so he kind of has this kind of not plotty, but he has this kind of this weight to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to kind of wonder is that because she said the wrong thing or you know what?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Another instance of
I'm humiliated to the max.
I'm humiliated to the max. To the max was one that I definitely remember as well. That was the
totally.
ultimate level of anything was to the max. I'm going to save Randy because we are in Cage-A-Palooza. We'll save Nick Cage for the very end. First, we got to talk about Dad, Steve.
Oh my God, Steve.
Good old hippie Dad.
Steve.
Cracked me up because one of the first things he says.
Even his name is Stephen. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Saying he was like Stephen King from Albany earlier. Anyway,
but like
I didn't notice that.
His daughter is getting ready for a party. She comes down with her friend, and like him and his wife walk over, and just this.
Stacy, if I were 20 years younger, honey.
No, don't say that to your daughter's friend.
Weirded
That's
me
weird.
out. That's so weirded me out.
That was weird in 1983. It's weirder now.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that you could say people don't talk like this, except I bought this exchange between Julie and her dad.
This isn't the age of Aquarius, you know.
What did it work?
That absolutely feels like an exchange those two characters would have because they would have talked about that. Like that would have just been a thing in their house.
Yeah.
So that I really liked that. And also him just trying to relate to her.
You dig what I'm saying?
You dig what I'm saying. Love that. Loved it. And then later on, okay, first Julie's having her dilemma at this point. We're at the point in the movie where she is trying to figure out what she should do. And I get it. Again, it's a little bit of forced drama, but I get it from the aspect of she's supposed to be a teenager. She hasn't figured things out yet. She's got her emotions and her heart are telling her one thing to be with Randy, but her friends are pushing her in the direction of Tommy. She goes to her dad for advice. And at first it's what's wrong. And he says,
"That's easy. Take it back and get a more expensive one. You know, the expensive ones always fit better, honey."
Good advice, Dad.
Yeah, but also, and I don't know if you captured this, but he was like, "What's wrong? Something broken? Was he in an accident? Things not working the way they used to?" You know, I once saw a movie like that once. Like, let's just dig deeper.
Yeah. Well, you know, they were an open family. I mean,
well, hey,
it's fine.
Hey, I can dig the scene. No sweat.
Again, trying to relate. That was when I realized. I think that was the first time, and I figured out, oh, this guy's an old hippie. He's just he was a hippie, and he still is. He just cut his hair.
Do you think we should talk to her about this?
I don't know. Maybe I should talk to her.
I had to include that because that was the second part of the movie that made me laugh out loud. The first part was the driver's ed teacher just bailing out of the car. That made me guffaw. But the dude in the health food store for the one scene we're there was killing me.
That kept moving back and forth because people kept standing over him and talking.
He's sitting at the end of the bar.
He's just like, "Oh God, here we go again."
Every time.
Move down.
I could not help it.
He just looks like he wants to die.
Yeah, he
looks like he wants to die. And then he'll turn to Steve and say, "Hey, what did blah 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 blah."
Just not missing a beat. It's like this happens to him all the time. He just kept sliding up and down the bar. It was killing me. And so for him to interject at the end, maybe I should talk to her. Loved that. But he in that scene from earlier where he gives the advice, oh, just take it back and buy the more expensive one. They actually have their heart to heart. And I liked this a lot because her dad gives her very good advice, which is like, there is no right answer. You have to do what you think is right. Look at everything and go for it. And then I loved this.
Beats me, love. But let me know when you decide.
Let me know when you decide. He is giving her the agency in her life that she needs in this moment. He is going to back her no matter what she decides, but he's going to let her make that choice. And I really liked that a whole lot.
Yeah, for all of his tragic weirdness, he seemed like somebody who had at least put the basics together.
Yeah,
and was doing an okay job of being there.
And it would have been very easy to make him be like the overprotective dad.
Absolutely.
And he wasn't.
Or the absent dad.
Or the absent dad, but he wasn't.
He's a hippie. He's constantly spaced out.
Sure.
He's smoking weed in the bathroom.
So yeah, when it comes to prom night and Tommy drives up in his limo, and I loved where he's nervous as all hell. And it's,
Steve, I don't understand what you're so nervous about. You're acting like you're going to the prom.
No, I don't even feel these hands are wet.
He's just nervous.
I was like, what? These hands are wet. And what? Nobody ever said that to anyone ever. Like,
and then he takes off for the bathroom and let's go find the camera. And then we smash cut to him in the bathroom lighting up a joint. I lost it. It was too funny. Yeah. I'll be out there in a minute.
And the guitar music in the background.
Yep.
Again, just nailing all the aspects.
All right. Randy and Fred. I got a little bit of Fred, and then we got some Randy to talk about because Nicolas Cage. But first, Randy introducing himself to Stacy.
Hi, I'm Fred. I like tacos, a 71 Cabernet, and my favorite color is magenta.
Oh, Fred. And then when he says this to Randy towards the end of the movie.
Girls love that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, trust me. It never fails. I know.
What do you know? What never fails? What have you ever done that has worked, Fred? What? I need to know. Because good Lord. Nicolas Cage, I thought, was actually really good in this.
I agree.
He
was Nick Cage, but he wasn't.
Yeah, but he got to have some fun moments, and he also got to have some serious moments. And again, a lot of his acting is because he's the star-crossed lover. A lot of his acting is just giving her the eyes throughout the movie. But
God, his bedroom eyes are a lot.
They are. It's intense.
Yeah, it is.
But he does it well, and it's believable in part because he was very smitten with Deborah Foreman, so that helps.
Yeah.
But I liked him in this. Is he Oscar worthy? No, not yet. No. But it's early in his career. He hasn't grown to that part yet. He's still. I mean, he's a kid. Mm-hmm. He's 19 making this, but he had some great moments. We had some Cage noise making, which is always fun for me. Like, he just does that well. Or freaking out as they're driving. Love that. It's always good stuff.
So I've never been to California.
Okay.
So maybe this is a thing there. I'm being facetious. But what is the thing now, driving up to a street corner, yelling at somebody, and then having an interaction and driving off like at a stoplight? That's fine. Keep driving, though, and yelling at them as you're driving away, and somehow these people are still having conversations.
So that to me is very much, we're trying to show the seedier parts of LA, and this is not the Valley, and this just happens. I have seen that happen in cities.
Oh, right.
Somebody driving by real slow and having yelling back and forth.
Right. But he didn't slow down is my point. He just kept driving and screaming back at them and I don't know. It just seemed kind of funny.
It was very
but
funny.
The way he was yelling at Yo, Rico, I thought you were going to get the mohawk.
Yeah, like that kind of.
What
Hey, I've heard it. I've heard that happen.
Oh, for
So,
sure. Yeah.
I
It's a
love
funny moment.
when they leave the party for the first time, him and Fred, and he stops the car like up in the hills and wants to turn on and go back. And just the way he says,
Maybe it's your boyfriend. Nobody is going to tell me who I can score with.
I can score with.
come on now.
Yeah.
You can phrase that better.
When we started watching this, I said to my wife, I says, I wonder if we're going to get a good Nick Cage yell. And dead on 20 minutes in, like 20 minutes, not 21, 20 minutes in, he is yelling his ass off at somebody.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm home. Let's go.
Yep. We also had him do the Nick Cage yelling things very staccato and very fast, because there's that montage later on, and he's,
Oh, well, Peter Piper picked a pepper. I guess I did. Oh,
I think that was ad-libbed for sure. I don't think that was in the script.
Had to be.
I also liked
go on, leave me alone.
drunk acting like you're drunk, which is really hard to do. To act drunk believably is very difficult, and he's not believably drunk, but he's hammered. Like the character is just falling down drunk. So I just love that. Leave me alone. Like, oh, come on. He gets better at the drunk acting later in his career. You're muted.
Yeah, I mean he's a Scientologist and doesn't drink, so he's gotta work that out and figure out what it's all about. How to portray it.
Yeah, this is a phrase I'd not heard before I saw this movie. I don't know if you were ever familiar with it either.
So let's crush that fly.
I'm still trying to figure out what
I don't know what that means. I don't know. Not a clue.
Yeah, I've never heard it in my life.
Nope. I liked. Okay, this was a fun one. This is during the montage of him trying to win her back, but it's the radio dedication. Did you ever do this? Do you remember this on the radio, where you would call in, dedicate a song to somebody on your local radio station?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To Julie, his favorite Valley girl, Randy sends his undying love and says, like, come back soon, you know?
I loved that. That killed me.
I doubt you got it, but at one point he says "Kuel."
Yeah.
I have never heard anyone say that. I've seen it in AOL chat rooms, online, live journal, whatever. I've seen the word literally a zillion times, but I've never heard somebody go "Kuel."
I probably have a TV show somewhere, but
want to die.
I will use our one F-bomb for possibly the best line in the movie, delivered by Nicolas Cage during the breakup scene, which, again, I think the breakup scene is really good because Julie being more or less forced into this decision situation.
She's really flustered. Yeah.
And she's very flustered. And to her, this is the type of thing that if you were to do a modern version of this movie, cell phones and texting would completely change the way their interactions are, because he just shows up at her house, doesn't call ahead. I do love during their dating montage where he's at the bar hanging out on the payphone talking to her while she's in her bedroom on her phone. That was lovely. But he just shows up at her house, no idea that she's basically broken up with him without ever telling him. And that whole scene goes great, but when he justifiably gets upset with her and he leaves, and I just loved this as the last thing he says as he walks away.
Now fuck off for sure, like totally.
Just yelling that in the neighborhood and then leaving. Really, really good. And then of course, he gets all upset, gets super drunk. Fred talks him off the ledge and basically like, come on, we'll win her back. And the montage of her trying to win her back was great, including curling up in her front lawn in a sleeping bag. Maybe a little creepy.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do that. But
yeah, just
it ended up kind of working for him. Oh, also, last sound clip, and this was just I just liked this.
I got a little tip for you, Skip.
Just out of context, that's even funnier. But I got a little tip for you, Skip. Plastics. This is not in my upper tier of Cage movies, but I understand why it meant something to him and why, like, this was a big one for him early in his career. Because this kind of, I mean, he had the name recognition already and who his uncle is and all of that, but he wanted to build his own reputation, which is why he started going by Nicolas Cage. But this was a movie that really helped to solidify or start his career in earnest. So I think for that, it's very important. And as we both mentioned, it's not bad. It's a decent movie and it's enjoyable.
Yeah, really enjoyable, really fun. I appreciate the fact that it's like three or four paint by numbers things happening at once. And it's just kind of it's yeah, so sure. And it just watching it just unfold is kind of, it's just really fun.
It is, and it's, you know, it's Romeo and Juliet / The Graduate, right straight up even to the very end of the movie is Randy and Julie in the back of a limo, somewhat mirroring the final shots of The Graduate with Dustin Hoffman's character and the girl on the bus. Like in that movie, he shows up at the wedding, they run off and all of that. This movie has Randy showing up at the prom and then running off with Julie, and they get in the limo and take off. The main difference being that there's a lot less ambiguity in the ending of this. They're actually happy together. Instead of the end of The Graduate has a lot of ambiguity of like, they're happy, but you watch their faces kind of change right at the end. Like, did we make the right decision? Here, I don't get that feeling at all. Julie and Randy do want to be together, do belong together type of thing. Because one of the things I liked was Randy as a character is a decent guy. Yes, he's from Hollywood and not from the Valley, but he's a decent guy. There's never a point in this where you're like, oh, he did something that's not cool towards Julie.
Right.
Which would have been a very easy out or an easy way to create conflict, but they didn't do that.
Yeah, like he acts in some creepy ways, like with the bathroom and all of that, and the sleeping bag on the yard, et cetera, but he never feels like a danger.
Right. Yeah. It's like, those are things you might not want him to do, the falling asleep in the front yard, but
you might not want him to. Yeah.
You might not want that, but it's harmless at the same time because he's not doing it from a place of any kind of malice. He's just like, it's like puppy dog love. He just wants to be close to her. And if she did rebuff him finally, like fully, and told him no, I do believe Randy would leave. Like, I don't think he would ever cross a line.
I thought so too. I will say in that final scene, you know, he's the man by the way he loosens his tie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When he answers the chauffeur, "Oh, are we going to the Hyatt?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think so," or whatever. And he loosens his tie, and it's like,
yep.
Okay. Also watching it when they, like right before that, or at the beginning of that scene when they re-engage Melt With You, I turned to my wife and I said, you know, it's the end of the movie because, well, like they start that and then when as they're driving away, they keep going to outside shots and it's like all aerial. And I said, you know, it's the end of the movie because they're doing the exact same thing they did at the beginning.
Yep, exactly.
And also about that, you know, you have the shaky helicopter thing at the beginning, and I would love for a modern drone reshoot of the whole thing, not just for the smoothness, but to see what is there now, 40 years later.
That would be really cool.
You would probably see. I mean, it'd probably make you mad.
Probably.
But, excuse me, because like you would have so many. You would have so many like Amazon warehouses. You would have like all kinds of commercial sprawl like in the city. And, you know, you wouldn't have everything was manned Chinese theater and Dupar's and all of that. But like you would see like the most corporate thing that I saw was the Coca-Cola sign.
Yeah.
And everything else was like Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, it's a very different landscape now.
Yeah, including like the Roxy, the Roxy,
mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and like all of the restaurant places except Dupar's was like hamburger hot dogs,
Yep.
or like Philly cheesesteak or whatever, and like there was no like Wiener Schnitzel, there was no
corporate branding on anything. It was
yeah, there
like,
was no In-N-Out. Everything was like food carts,
yeah,
almost. But I would love to see how different that is,
because it's vastly different.
It has to be so different. There would be so much branding everywhere. No more mom and pops. F that. It would be so different. And like the countryside,
mm-hmm.
like the shots of the actual valley, it would all be like just Amazon warehouses and cheap subdivisions.
Yeah. Couple things about the movie I have to mention, because I thought this was interesting before we kind of wrap up.
Sure.
So this was conceived initially as more of a kind of exploitation style film, which makes sense given the small budget, and kind of wanting to capitalize. So it's a little bit more, again, like Suburbia, that was being made right around the same time, was very much an exploitation film. So it was kind of conceived that way, but then the director, Martha Coolidge, sort of didn't want to go in that direction, and actually brought in and delivered, quote unquote, a real movie, which I do like. The producers of the movie, so this is rated R. There was language, but there's also nudity.
So many F-bombs. Lots of boobs.
And this was the fun thing is, the producers required her to show female breasts. That was a thing that the producers wanted. And according to this trivia, at least 4 times in the movie, feeling that it would make it more appealing to young men. That was the producer's thought. So Coolidge agreed in order to get the directing job. But she found herself a nice little loophole. Quote, they didn't say how long those shots had to be. Not smart of them. So she made them as short as possible every chance she had. So she had the required 4 shots that they wanted. But if you noticed, while there is several shots of nudity in this, none of them linger. It's all very short.
Right.
I love that. I love that because that is Martha Coolidge being like, all right, fine.
Oh, okay.
Malicious compliance it is. Good on her for that. And I also loved the trivia. This was just fun trivia for me, which is there was 2 of these. The song Eyes of a Stranger by the Payolas, and also the song playing when Randy and Fred enter the house party. Both of these trivia entries say, strangely are not on the soundtrack. Well, yeah, because they couldn't afford to put them on the soundtrack. You pay for the rights to put it in your movie, but a soundtrack album, very different, and you have to pay for more rights for that. And the studio and the producers probably didn't.
It's interesting that those are the songs they couldn't buy.
Right? Of all the songs in this movie, those are the ones.
Yeah.
But I did see where like a soundtrack album didn't come out for a while, and it was kind of tough to do for all those reasons. But
kind of a Ferris Bueller situation.
Yeah. But I just those trivia bits always crack me up because that's written as somebody just, I love but strangely not on the soundtrack. Like,
strangely.
No, it's not strangely at all if you know what's going on. But no, look, this is a good movie. This is a fun movie. And again, I understand wholeheartedly why this means something to a lot of people. This feels like if this were made a year or 2 later, it would have been
completely different movie.
Well, not only a completely different movie, but I feel like John Hughes could have made this movie. He would have set 100%. It in Shermer, Illinois, and it wouldn't have been a Valley Girl. But like this feels like that same type of movie. This is just the California version of a John Hughes film, with an R rating, which he wasn't opposed to writing R-rated stuff. He just did a lot of PG-13. But that's just kind of the feeling I got from it. But I think it's good. And if you're a Cage fan, it's worth watching because this is a young Nick Cage coming into his own. He's not fully formed yet. He hasn't gone completely off the edge like he does in, say, Vampire's Kiss, which he's talked about as being a thing where he was really just exploring acting stuff. But he gets to have some fun in here. and also kind of be a leading man and get to do a little bit of that smoldering. He does a lot of smoldering in this movie.
Yeah, the smoldering, so much smoldering.
A lot of smoldering and just interesting choices of chest hair.
Okay, so Ash Meow asked in the chat, would it have been a better movie if it had been a John Hughes movie? That's hard to say.
It is hard to say, only because this movie really, Valley Girl has to be done in California. And I do feel like it really needs to be a glamorized version of like a punk movie, which is what this is, right? This is the perfect other side of the coin to a movie like Suburbia. Suburbia and Valley Girl are both, they're not the same movie, they're not the same style of movie, but they're two sides of a coin of sort of the world of LA in the early 80s.
Yeah, kind of like the same ballpark.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So
yeah,
that's kind of my thought on it.
Yeah, great question.
So, Jonathan, first of all, thank you so much for coming back to the show. It's always a pleasure to have you here. What have you got that you want to tell people about? Because you mentioned to me before we started that you had something you wanted to talk about. So,
lots of things.
What do you got? Tell people.
Okay, so first of all, you can follow me on social media. I'm Extra Lettuce pretty much everywhere except TikTok, and I'm even on Tumblr. You can find me at Extra Lettuce on there. And I also make really great chainmail jewelry. I'm actually in the process of putting up a product that I've just not had up for sale for so long, but interest is booming again. So I figured I would post some comic bracelets. If you want to go to my website real quick, because I want your opinion here. They're basically just bracelets. They're like minimally designed. I'm still getting all of the pictures that I have up on there, but like partial listing is there. By the time people listen to it, it'll be complete. And like, it's just basically like, how could I represent some known superheroes in like a chainmail bracelet or something that isn't just applying the colors? How could I invoke like kind of who they are or like whatever? And you're looking at a few of them. What do you think?
I like these. I like the color schemes, but I also like that they're different. It's not just the same form with
it's not
color palettes. You get a little different feel to each one.
Yeah, like with the Flash, I mean, that's easy, and that's how this kind of started out.
Mm-hmm.
I realized I could do the Flash, and I was like, oh, I could do anybody. But like with the Flash, you have his insignia and his suit, so it's like a yellow ring on a white background with some red at the side for a suit. Easy peasy. Superman, very similar. Spider-Man, very similar. But you get to Carnage. Carnage is weird. And so it's an entire, like, all of this is the same weave. It's like a solid red bracelet, but it has bits of the black that go over his costume. Same with Venom, same with Poison Ivy and the gold. Same with Catwoman, because 80s Catwoman was her in the black suit with all of this purple lighting highlights everywhere. And so like that, so that's all that. And it's something I'm super proud of. If you've ever seen my stuff and really wanted to get a view of what drives me in this as an artist, and you wanted to see a great example of the work that's me, this is the best example that I have on my site right now. Even just looking back through it, I was like, holy crap, I did this. This is pretty neat.
Yeah, they're great. They're a lot. They're very cool. I like those a lot. So definitely check that. It's extralettuce.com.
Yeah.
You can find it.
Okay, and now the thing that I actually wanted to announce. So friend of the show, Audie Norman and I have plans to do a new podcast, and it's an artist's podcast, but it's not going to be like opaque. We want to just kind of, I don't know. I don't have the elevator pitch yet because we just talked about this yesterday. Basically, it's an idea I've had going around since like 2017 for a show to have some artists on and discuss being well. Basically, the conceit of the show is get an artist on and lead with the question, why are you an artist?
Okay.
And let them answer in whatever way they want to ask, whatever direction, and go from there. I totally grokked it from somebody who had somebody who had more of a tech show that had kind of a similar thing. But I sat on it for a while because life changes happen and so on and so forth. But I think Audie feels the same way. I feel he or like we need a lot of nice things right now.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this before, but we need things that just remind us what it means to feel like a person, like a human, like we have direction in this world where everything is chaos around us. And we really like the idea of just sitting down, talking with someone, somebody just about what makes an artist tick. And we don't want to bog it down with all the terminology. And we're not really talking about being like an artist, like a scholastic artist. We are just, okay, so like I'm an indie artist. He's a graduate from SCAD. In like we have such different views, but at the end of it, we're still a person trying to make sense of the world we live in and how to respond to that with the things that we want to make. In fact, we were talking about another overarching project that I've talked to you about, and we shared back and forth about it. But I just realized that since things have picked up recently, now's not the time. Like it just wouldn't land. It wouldn't have the space, the emotional space to be what it could be. And like talking about decisions like that. What being an artist and a person in this world we live in, what does that mean? And it's very, we want it to be supportive, encouraging.
That's really cool.
And just we want to see where it goes, and we want to do it nice for our community, for the, what did I say the other day? For the metropolitan Frog Pants community, and for your community and the community you all have. And we just want to limit that scope and just see what we can do to be there for our community, because we know people are trying to make sense of it and trying to figure out what to do with the creative impulse. And also, there hasn't been a lot in this community that is filled with artists and creative people that let us gather together kind of in that name. And so, not to sound religious, sorry, but so we just want to see if we can kind of make that happen. And right now we don't have a planned launch time per se, but it's probably going to be the fall, probably late September at least. And we just we're working on it. We're working on getting people together. And so if you are an artist in the Frog Pants Metropolitan community, and this sounds like a neat prospect, then hit him up or hit me up. Again, Extra Lettuce, anywhere you get your stuff. And let's see what cool we can make with this.
Very cool.
If we
I
can
like
get it. So
that's exciting.
Appreciate that.
Audie is one of my favorite people. So the two of you doing a show together sounds fantastic. I can't wait to.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait to hear that.
That's great.
Same. Now, Cage-A-Palooza is not over. I've got a couple more weeks of Nick Cage movies that I'm going to be talking about. So we have done 3, but next week, Jay Funktastic is coming back to the show, and we're going to watch one from 2013 called The Frozen Ground. This, I feel, is going to be interesting because this is straight out of that era of Nicolas Cage has taxes to pay. And so he's doing a whole lot of stuff. But all I know about this movie is it brings Nicolas Cage and John Cusack back together in a film. I believe for the first time since Con
Really
Air.
should be.
I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's always fun to talk with Jay. So it's going to be a lot of fun. That's what's coming up. And then we'll end Cage-A-Palooza in 2 weeks with the movie Next, which I have not seen before. And I cannot wait because I've heard things about it. That will take us right into Dragon Con, which I will be at in just a couple of weeks. And if you are going to Dragon Con, come find me because I would love to say hi and I'd love to talk with people. And I will be doing the show live there Friday of Dragon Con. I will release all sorts of information on my social medias as soon as I am able to. That will be soon. I will have confirmation on the time and location of that panel, and I will be in a couple of panels. So definitely, if you're going to be at Dragon Con, come find me. I cannot wait for that. And yeah, I got some fun stuff lined up for September as well on the show. So always a blast. But Jonathan, thank you so much for being here. This is always fun. And this was a good choice, a great choice of a movie.
I agree. Like I rewatched it this afternoon right before the show to make sure I got all my notes. Because like I said, the first time I watched it, I was just like, man, the hits just keep on coming. And I didn't, I mean, I never hate a rewatch, but I'm like, I'm enjoying this just about as much as I did the first time. This is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Well, thank you again. And thank you all for listening in. If you like this, I record every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, twitch.tv/TVsTravis is the live stream. Comes out on Wednesdays, anywhere you get your podcasts. Spread the word, let people know, get them to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you want and you are able to, I do have a Patreon that lets me do the things like Dragon Con or Nerdtacular next year. And that is patreon.com/WYHS. There's those $5 a month. You get all of the shows, which will always be free, but if there ever are ads, they won't be on Patreon. You also get the bonus stuff. I did just publish my final first watch diary for Star Wars Ahsoka. I finished that series. I will be moving on to a new series. Patrons get those. The new one will be my thoughts on Wednesday, the series on Netflix, which I'm really looking forward to as a huge Addams Family fan. So if you want that, you got to be a patron to get that. And that's patreon.com/WIHS. So I will be back next week for the Frozen Ground with Jay Funktastic. Jonathan, you will be back at some point on the show again.
I'll be back at some point,
whenever we figure that one out. But until then, everybody, remember to enjoy your movies and let's be excellent to each other, like totally for sure.
Encino is like so bitchin'.
Spaz. Oh, that one got me.
I was called a spaz when I was a kid. Can you believe that?